Mindset evolution. So in our lives, we go through different stages of mental consciousness. From maybe we can be victims at some points in time. Maybe we realize that we're manifestors and we can create the reality we want to create. Or we can have this spiritual connection with our Creator, whether we call Him God, the universe, whatever we associate with the source. Now, I recently read this book called Life Visioning by Michael Beckwith. And he points out the different levels of consciousness that you and I may go through in our lifetime. And it varies from each stage of our life. And it doesn't mean that if you're in one stage of consciousness, you're better off than another person. Everyone has their own spiritual and evolutionary journey. Now, the first level of consciousness, or one level of consciousness, is victim consciousness. Now, this idea is straightforward. There are people, and at times maybe you and I have faced this state of mental being where we feel like we're a victim. Our current life reality and circumstances are dictated by what's going on around us. For example, if I don't have the kind of job that I want, or I don't have the kind of external, or if certain needs are not met in my life, I blame, for example, oh, this is how I was raised, that's why I'm like this. Or, see, my friend did this to me. You're blaming external factors in your life that point out, you're blaming external factors which entail you use that as an excuse for not changing. So that's victim consciousness. And the spiritual practice to get out of victim consciousness is forgiveness. Forgiving others whom you may dislike. Forgiving those individuals who you put blame on. Because you're blaming other people when you're in a state of victim consciousness. So forgiving those individuals who in your mind you think that they've brought harm into your life. Now this takes really strong spiritual cleansing. And also forgiving yourself. Because at times we feel victim, or we may feel victim to past things that we have done in our life. And we harbor that resentment. Oh, I can't believe I did this. Not saying that give yourself an excuse. Forgive yourself and then push forward by changing your ways. Learning from your mistake. That's how you grow. There was an example in the book when I read Life Visioning by Michael Beckwith where there was a man who had a 16-year-old son. His 16-year-old son was working at the grocery store. One day, he got off work. He went to the parking lot, went to his car. This was in San Diego. So when he went to his car, he pulled up the trunk, and there was a kid behind him who had a gun. Pointed it at the young man. He said, "Give me your money." The young man resisted. When he resisted, the individual with the gun shot him. Killed the young man. I think the killer was about 14. I think he was involved in a gang. The young man was between, I believe, 16 and 18 years old. Now, the young man, the killer, quote unquote, they found him, they arrested him, he had life in prison. But the father of the young man who was murdered was facing a lot of resentment, a lot of anger, a lot of fear, doubt, hate. He harbored that inside of him. So he sought spiritual kind of counseling because it was dragging on for about 7 years, even 10 years. It was carrying on. He just had to stop dwelling on that incident. So what he did is he started this forgiveness practice. He found it inside of him. He needed some spiritual cleansing. So I know it may be difficult to do, and I mean we may not be saints, but he pushed himself spiritually because he said, I needed to get out of this mental blockage. So he would visualize even the murderer, the young man who murdered his son. They were both young men, and started forgiving him. He started a habitual practice of forgiveness towards that individual. And as hard as it may seem, because you killed your son, I mean, that's not an easy task, and I don't expect everyone to follow that right away. I mean, it took the father about 7 to 10 years to get to that point in the realization. So he started forgiveness practice. I forgive. And he started this habitually, every day. Till he got to a point where when he thought of the young man who killed his own son, the negative feelings of resentment, of hate, that was not there anymore. He got to a point, and that was kind of the spiritual connection that he had, and he had cleansing with himself. It even got to a point where then that father went to go meet the convicted murderer's father. He went to go meet him, and he met him for the first time. And he expressed his feelings. He says, listen, I know what happened, what took place. I forgive the situation that would happen. And what's happening now is that they started a non-profit organization to stop youth violence. So from his spiritual progress, he's bringing greater good to society just by the act of forgiveness. Now, for many of us, our situations may not be to that extreme, but we may have people in our lives that there may be some resentment, animosity, and a certain relationship dynamic that may be destructive towards us. Maybe it might be with a family member, former friend, co-worker. If you hold on to these negative feelings, that's going to be destructive. So one practice, again, that is part of being a victim consciousness. You're allowing the negative tension you have towards the other human being to affect your mental state. So that is a part of, and it's kind of subliminal. It's not outward, like you're blaming them, but you're harboring those negative tensions. So what you do is you practice this forgiveness prayer, and that doesn't mean you have to be buddy-buddy with them. It's just you're freeing yourself. You don't have to hang out with them. You don't have to take them out to dinner. You don't have to take them out to lunch. If you're able to get to that point, then I'll give you a round of applause. But that's not necessary. You're just doing this for yourself. And once you do that, you're going to start seeing things open up. The negative tension's going. It's going to dissipate. And when you harbor those things, it does affect your physiological and mental functions. Even bodily aches and pains may go away, and your mindset will be a lot better. So that's kind of the basic idea of victim consciousness. And this will take a whole day to explain, but I'm just giving you the basic foundations. Now the next step is manifesting, manifestors. And Candice and I talked a lot about manifestations, and we're big on in law of attraction. That's pretty much when you're in manifest consciousness. When you've grown to your spiritual journey, that you know that you can manifest what you want in your life by the law of manifestation, or some people call this the law of attraction. And this is simple, straightforward. Again, I can go on this topic for one whole day, but just in brief, the law of attraction is your thoughts and feelings create your reality. So whatever you hold on here the most, whether it's good or bad, it's like the law of gravity. It doesn't matter if you're a good person or a bad person. If you jump off of a building, you're going to fall down. So same thing with the law of attraction. If you consistently hold a negative vision of your life, it's going to take you there. But if you hold a positive vision, you're going to attract positive situations and circumstances. Now, when people face resistance to what they want, they seem not to be able to manifest what they want. That is because they may have fear, worry, and doubt because they don't know how it's going to happen. So if I put in my mind that I want to make this much money, or I want to buy this house, that's great, that's the first step. But then if you have fear behind that by saying to yourself that, well, I don't know how this is going to happen, I don't have any money, I don't have a job, I don't know what's going on, there's no way I can do that, I just don't see it. But see, that's not the point. When you throw it out there, right, to God or to the universe, you're going to attract, the how will be attracted to you. I'm not saying this is just wishful thinking, you'll just say it and it'll just magically appear. There's going to be action that's required, and I'm all about taking action. But the action step will be attracted to you. So you may find a friend who has a business opportunity, and that will lead you to get the financial goal that you want to hit. Or you may go online, there may be a seminar, all of a sudden out of nowhere, you weren't even looking for it, it pops up out of nowhere. Come to this seminar, we're going to teach you how to increase your income. Or anything. If you're looking to meet a great group of friends, you might come across somebody and you want to network with people in business, then he'll invite you to this organization, and then you guys go and you meet somebody else, and it just keeps going and going and going. The whole point is there's a scientific basis to this, because when you put the idea in your head, your RAS, which is called your reticular activation system, is going to be aware of the opportunities because you're creating these neural pathways. So your RAS is going to be aware of opportunities that will bring you closer to your goal. Now, if you're always in a negative vibration, what's going to happen is you will attract negativity, and it won't be surprising that maybe you bump into a little fender bender. You wake up out of bed and you stub your toe. These little things, I know we look past these things, but that's why it's important to monitor your thoughts. I mean, human beings have 60,000 thoughts per day. We can't monitor all our thoughts, but if we push ourselves to kind of have an idea of what vibration we're in at this time, or I'm a human being, we're all human beings. Sometimes I'm thinking of something and it takes me into a spiral of negative hypothetical scenarios. For me practicing this now, I can say, okay, Hasib, stop, 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 and then focus on what I want and have the clear picture of where I want to go. Now, when you're in the state of manifest consciousness, you realize that you're a co-creator of your reality. We're endogenous human beings, meaning that we're human beings that emit things from inside and we express it on the outside. That means we're an endogenous human beings, and Michael Beckwith talks about this. So when we hold the idea of our mind, it will come closer to us, and the 3 spiritual practices to get closer to our goal. Again, for forgiveness consciousness, we always have to forgive. A spiritual practice of forgiveness is very essential. Now, for manifest consciousness, it's affirmations, prayer, and visualizations. And there are scientific bases behind these things. When you make an affirmative thought, and I always say this on all my speeches, it has the same theme, but when you make an affirmative thought, that's going to tell you, it's going to reprogram your brain. That's all what you're doing scientifically is reconditioning your brain. This is not airy-fairy stuff. Now science is confirming these kind of spiritual practices, the different laws of the universe, that when you recondition your brain by using affirmations, you're able to manifest those things that you want in your life. The strategies, the action steps will start coming to you. When you start visualizing and having the clear picture of what you want, that'll also have the same effect. But you have to have the feeling tone, and you have to not just intellectually say it, but you have to feel it and have faith that it's going to happen. And I guarantee you, you'll see magic. So this is in a state of manifest consciousness. Now, the next state are the channelers. What are the channelers? Channelers are individuals that have come to a higher level of consciousness. So you have the victim consciousness. You have manifest consciousness. Then you have channel consciousness. Now, channel consciousness is that all the actions that I do in my life are coming from the source, coming from God. I am behaving the way I am because I'm connected with God and I want to serve Him. I want to serve my higher calling. So if I'm doing this, I'm not doing it on the basis of, if I'm doing an action, I'm not doing it on the basis of ego. I have a spiritual foundation, meaning that this is my passion and I feel I can bring value to the lives of other people. It's more connected with your higher purpose, and that's called channel consciousness. This is a higher level of consciousness than manifest consciousness, because in manifest consciousness, a person can be a jerk or have a high ego. They can still manifest the things that they want, but they're doing it for themselves. You see the difference? So with channel consciousness, you go one spiritual level higher. In channel consciousness, this is very theoretical. So an example is, I have, I want to make this abundance, or I want to have abundance, right? Well, why do you want to have abundance? Not only to help myself, but maybe to help others, because that is my spiritual calling. So your basis of making action or taking action in your daily life is because of your connection with your Creator. So you're very conscious of what am I doing? Am I doing it for myself? And there's a balance. When you're in channel consciousness, you can still manifest the things that you want, but you're more detached. Whereas our channel consciousness, you're more detached. Whereas in manifest consciousness, you're focused on the outcome, you're visualizing, and that's a good part of the spiritual journey. And in channel consciousness, you're able to attract the things that you want, but it's from more of a detached zone. Like, it's coming. I'm going to live my life. I'm in connection with the source. I have my spiritual foundation. And I want to genuinely do good, be authentic. And I will create the abundance. I know if I help others, abundance will come. And I have a higher calling. It's not just this life. So that's a higher playing field. And the spiritual practices for channel consciousness are not only affirmations, visualizations, and prayer, but it's also meditation. And there are a lot of books out there about meditation. It's not some airy-fairy thing that only people in East India practice. Now there are scientific evidence to show that people that meditate on a regular basis are more present in their daily lives. They find creative solutions to problems in their lives because their brain tends to be calm. When you're in a calm environment in your daily life, you're able to find quick solutions. You're able to stay positive, stay in the moment. Because with our busy lives, especially living in the West, we're always hectic, running around. It is very essential for us to take that time to just sit down and relax. And this gets deeper because even if you have problems or if you're trying to find answers, a lot of the great men and women of history were big meditators. So there's no accident that people who we admire always found time to sit and were very self-reflective. You can name anybody in history, very self-reflective. So if you and I want to increase our spiritual foundation or increase all aspects of our lives, we have to include this, a ritual, into our daily lives, meditation. And this is another topic that can take 1 hour, but I encourage everyone to read books about this topic. Go on YouTube. There's tons of information out there, but just having the know-how or the knowledge that this is very essential, that's the first step. Now, the last step, or the last idea of consciousness, is being consciousness. Now, in being consciousness, this is very spiritual or theoretical, but it can be complicated explaining this. But in being consciousness, you're one with the source. Now let me elaborate that further. By being one, that means that you have such a connection, you're so grounded, not only in reality, but your connection, you have this sense of feeling that you're in connection with God, that you have a deep connection, that, in the Bible it says we are children of God. So you hone into that idea or that concept, and you have a strong spiritual connection with other people around you. Now, I'm not saying we can maintain, you know how I talk about victim consciousness, manifest consciousness, channel consciousness, now you have a being consciousness. We're not going to stay in these states of consciousness or these mind states every day consistently. It's going to ebb and flow. At one period of our life or at one period of the week, we'll be in maybe in more of a victim mentality, or we'll be more of a manifest mentality. They're neither good or bad, but just being cognizant of where you're at, where do you want to go, maybe having a combination of all working together, it's really going to flourish all aspects of your life. So in being consciousness, you're one with the source and you have a deep connection. It's very related to channel consciousness. There's not a great deal of difference, but it's that whole idea that you're a spiritual being. That's your foundation. Your foundation is not ego. I'm going to make money so I can show other people. I'm going to have these material things so people can respect me. I want to be famous because I just want people to have bring me their posters and so I can sign autographs so I can feel good about myself. No. You throw all that stuff out the window. You have a spiritual purpose, a spiritual foundation. And when you have this, I've noticed that you become more authentic, you become genuine. People will naturally, and it's very detached kind of mind state. People will naturally gravitate towards you. But you don't want to have the mindset that I want people to gravitate. It just will be a natural occurrence. It's not, you're not forcing it. So that's why I want to present these topics to you. You have, again, victim consciousness, manifest consciousness, channel consciousness, and being consciousness. When you understand these things and components in your daily life, you're going to see growth that you've never seen before. And when you experience these growths in these areas of your life, you're gonna have an addictive quality. It's gonna be addictive. You want to meditate. You want to say your affirmations. You want to participate in your spiritual journey. And when you're in these meditative states, when you're praying, even if things are unclear in your life, just ask. Ask, what is my vision? What is my purpose? And you'll attract those opportunities and those the way to get to where you want to go. Thank you.